What's up, everybody? It's your man's KJ the Great, dropping another edition of All Sports Media TV. But first, I want to say, I hope and pray everything is great your way. Now, let's get to it. All right, y'all. So, we got a WBA 140-pound junior welterweight title bout going down this Saturday. Yes. And y'all know who I'm talking about, man. We talking about Rolando Rolly Romero, who's 15 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 13 wins by way of knockout. He'll be taking on Isak Pitbull Cruz, 25 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw with 17 wins by way of knockout. Now, in this buildup, Rolly Romero's been calling Isak Cruz a chihuahua. He even went out and bought a chihuahua and named it Isak. They had a video of him pulling up in the desert with a he had a pinata out in the desert and he was beating it and he drove off and drove over it, all that stuff. Rolly can build up a fight, man. I think Rolly honestly is like top five talkers in all of boxing right now. He knows how to promote a fight. But let's talk about the fight between these two. Now, Rolly in his last fight with Ismael Barroso, he got a ninth round TKO stoppage, but we not finna give Rolly the credit for that fight because Tony Meeks he acknowledged he made a mistake of stopping that fight too soon, or maybe he's or from what his assessment of um Barroso taking just a little bit of damage. If you go back and watch that fight, Barroso had Rolly Romero confused on his heels, going backwards. He dropped him, and then he got in a little bit of trouble, and Tony Meeks stopped the fight. I thought Barroso was on his way to winning that fight because Rolly was getting outboxed. He was down on all the cards, and he won the fight. And I remember after the fight, he was talking up a storm, saying he'd go up to 147 and beat up Earl Spence. And everybody was like, man, you need to rematch that old man because he was on your ass. But there's some interesting things about this fight with Rolly Romero is that he's not with Coach Bullet anymore, his old trainer, Coach Bullet. Bullet came out and said, he's seen some things that were going on with Rolly, people getting in Rolly's head, saying this, saying that. And so that he ended up parting ways from the situation. And now Rolly is back with his first trainer that he had. So that's interesting. For where Rolly's at in his career, he was making a lot of mistakes. I don't know if it was due to Coach Bullet or if it's one of them things he needed to break away from Coach Bullet and grow as a fighter. But the outlook is that he's back with his old trainer, and these things that his trainer said, the mistakes he was making, they're all correctable. So we're gonna see if he's been correcting his stuff in this training camp. Now let's talk about Isak Pitbull Cruz, man. He's a small fighter. He's actually shorter than Gervonta Tank Davis. I think he's 5'3". Rolly Romero stands at about 5'10", something around there. And when they faced off, it was, height difference all up in that. But since he fought Tank Davis, Isak Cruz has reeled off 3 good victories. He had 2 back-to-back victories, and which in one of those victories, it was a KO victory over Yuriokis Gamboa. And of course, we know Yuriokis Gamboa is over the hill, but for his skill set and what we've seen out of Pitbull Cruz, it was a dominant victory. He was peppering the mess out of him, dropped him around 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4, something like that. Ended up getting a stoppage victory. It was crazy. Then he fought Giovanni Cabrera, and I thought Cabrera could possibly win that fight if he used his length and gauged the distance right, but he didn't. But he fought well, and he lost the split decision to Isak Cruz. I thought Isak Cruz fought better, way better than I thought he was going to fight based on the size difference. That size difference can come into play at some point. Now, with these two fighters, man, I've listened to a lot of different people talk about this fight. Even Gervonta Tank Davis's trainer, Calvin Ford, he said he thinks Pitbull Cruz can get him out of there in about round 6 or 7. and that piqued my interest. So I went back to look at the early fights and stuff. And one thing, like I said about Rolly in his last fight, is he does not fight well going backwards. He's a really awkward, come forward, aggressive fighter, and he fights well coming forward. But when he is on his back foot, his feet get tied up, and it's like he's just out of place. He's just out of, he don't know where he's at. So with that being said, if Cruz can establish himself early and come forward on Rolly Romero, he might just be able to get him out of there because Rolly's talking about, oh yeah, I'm gonna fight him in the phone booth, I'm gonna do all this stuff, I'm gonna fight his fight. You know how Rolly talk. Uh but if he does that, I think Calvin Ford might be right. I think Isak Cruz can get him out of there if you try to fight him in the phone booth. Because when Cruz is coming forward, he's real tight. He's got that real tight style. He throws hard punches, and he's definitely looking to get you out of there. In order for Rolly to win this fight, he has to stay off his back foot. He has to stay forward. He has to use his jab, use his footwork side to side, creating angles. It's gonna be if he's gonna try to knock out Cruz. You already know it's gonna be hard because Tank could knock him out, although he hurt his hand in that fight. But in order for you to try to knock him out, you got to work the angles. You got to stay forward because Cruz is a wrecking ball and he's coming forward. Now, ultimately, I was so hard pressed to pick this fight, man, because I really want to see Rolly move on from this fight and fight the likes of Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Sabril Matias. I would love to see him fight some of those guys. Um, because if Cruz wins this fight, it's gonna be a challenge for him to fight someone as big as Devin Haney, even Sabril Matias and Teofimo Lopez. You even fighting Ryan Garcia with that length and speed, it's gonna be hard. So, but man, I'm a roll with Cruz, man. I'm a roll with Cruz to get the win. I want to see him win. That's why I'm so hard pressed to pick this fight. But I'm gonna roll with Cruz to win by any means necessary. Unanimous decision, split decision, knockout in the sixth, seventh round, like Calvin Ford said. I want to know what you guys think, man. Y'all think Rolly's gonna win this fight? Y'all think he's gonna get a knockout, and move on, and potentially fight Devin Haney, Sabril Matias, or Teofimo in a unification bout? I don't know, man. But let me know what you guys think. Y'all think Cruz gonna win this fight? Think he's gonna bang him up and get him out of there? All right, let me know, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. Peace.